So classify the following events as dependent or independent, so whether or not the second event is dependent on the first event. Let's take a look at A. The experiment is rolling a die and tossing a coin. The first event is rolling 2 on the die, and the second event is tossing tails on the coin. Well, just letting you know, tossing tails on the coin has nothing to do with rolling 2 on the die because they're separate objects. Okay, so that would be independent. Doesn't really matter what you roll on the die, that's not going to have an effect on what you roll, flip as a coin. On the other hand, the experiment is choosing 2 cards without replacement, so keep that in mind, from a standard deck. The first event is that the first card is a king, and the second event is that the second card is a king. Well, if we're not replacing the deck, or the cards back into the deck, that's going to be a problem because once you take one card out, that means that there's fewer cards to choose from, so they are actually going to be dependent. So if I had to reword that, basically if I took that king out, and originally there's 52 cards, now there's 51 to choose from. Next up we have the experiment is choosing 2 cards with replacement from a standard deck. The first event is that the first card is a king, and the second event is that the second card is a king. This one's a bit different because we're going to replace that card once we're done. So you take that card out, you look at it, then you shuffle it back in. So in the first event you had 52 cards, in the second event you had 52 cards. So it doesn't really matter if you select the king in the first time around. It has no effect on selecting a king the second time around, not like the first time. This one here in B, where if you take a king out and you leave it out of the deck, that means you have fewer cards to choose from.